Welcome back to the Bluegrass in this rainy April afternoon. I'm out with Maggie. Maggie is an awesome curly-coated retriever, and today we're talking about whether or not a curly-coated retriever might be right for you and your family situation. Now, I'm the first one to admit that I am in no way an expert on curly coats, so I'm going to defer to a book I got when I was a little boy in the 70s to provide you with a breed overview. The curly coat is one of the earliest retrievers mentioned in literature, but the type as we know it today probably wasn't established until the mid-1800s when early bench shows began to stabilize the various breeds through standards. These early retrievers were variously called Old Water Dogs, Old English Water Spaniels, Common English Retrievers, Water Spaniels, English Water Poodles, and maybe others. At any rate, there were retrievers dating into antiquity that may have lent their coats to the curly through crossbreeding, most notably with the St. John's Newfoundland or St. John's Water Dog, which provided the foundation stock for our Labrador retrievers that we see today. Okay, all right, Claire, will you take my book? All right, so now what I'm going to do, okay, Maggie, is I'm going to walk Maggie, okay, and I'm going to talk to you about how I feel is a good way to look at understanding where curly coats may fit in on the breed suitability scale. All right, so for those of you who are familiar with my channel, you know we do lots and lots of Labrador retrievers. I have a lot of videos on what we call English Labrador retrievers, or what really should be called show-bred Labrador retrievers, but we also have a lot of videos on field-bred Labrador retrievers, or what some people refer to as American Labrador retrievers. I have both kinds, okay? Now, where I think Maggie fits in on that continuum is kind of smack dab in the middle of those two personality and physical traits spectrums, right? Okay, so Maggie is pretty athletic. Okay, she has kind of a long, lanky build, which is similar to a field-bred dog. Okay, but her temperament is very soft, and she's got a lot of love to give, and she has a generally positive outlook on meeting new people and other dogs, but in a controlled way. And she's very sensitive, which kind of puts her more towards the you know, show-bred Labrador Retriever end of the spectrum. Okay, she, you know, she's not the best fetcher in the world, and so I contacted some people that have more experience with curly coats than me, and I asked them. I said, "Hey, like this dog shows a little bit of interest in retrieving, and I've heard that they're slow maturing. You know, should I expect for that interest to develop over time, or you know, should I just kind of expect for her to be the kind of dog that maybe likes to play with her toys some, but is never going to be a really reliable retriever?" And to a person, they said that over the course of time, these dogs retrieving desire gradually builds, and kind of most notably starts to become evident in the post-adolescent period, which I thought was very interesting. But that doesn't surprise me, because like almost everything she does, it takes her a little while to kind of get the hang of it. Okay, so you know, for those of you familiar with my channel, you know when I'm teaching basic obedience, we start off with a very accessible, come on nerd, and usable vocabulary, and then we ask the dogs to master that vocabulary under a wide range of physical conditions. Like today, we're out here on my Small Challenges course practicing obedience in the rain. Okay, and we do that kind of stuff every day. The difference between, say, Maggie, who looks a lot like Annie, the field-bred lab that was on the table when I first introduced her, is that when Annie was little, nothing bothered her. If it was raining, thundering, lightning, if the boat motor was going, the more stuff going on in the environment, the better. Like, she thrived. The more pressure that we put her under in terms of performing in a high distraction environment, the better she did. Okay? Now, this dog is exactly the opposite. You know, I think like good words for describing this dog's personality: cautious, maybe elegant, okay? Because like when we go places with her, she's so ladylike, okay? And which that's perfect for where she's gonna, you know, go live. Okay, now see, no, I'm walking her with the walker now because Maggie is gonna live in a household where there are two elderly people that have mobility issues, okay? And I don't have to worry about Maggie getting super excited and getting under their feet or jumping on them, okay? I don't have to worry about Maggie being over-enthusiastic with her toys, okay, and accidentally being oral and you know, hurting somebody's skin that's maybe got thin skin because they're older, or maybe they, you know, kind of bleed a lot because they're on blood thinner medicine. Right? This is how she acts. And now we're going to take her for a walk. We're going to go out, and you're going to see that when she's outdoors and she's not on the leash and she's not being asked to do, you know, like a specific task, she's plenty athletic and she's plenty outgoing and she likes to adventure and she likes to play with the other dogs. But she has no problems in understanding the context of when those behaviors, you know, are acceptable and permissible. In other words, I don't have to, when I have old people or young people come down here to the kennel, I don't have to tell Maggie to calm down. She has this astute and keen awareness, this perception of vulnerability that I'm really happy with. Okay? I mean, I couldn't be more pleased with the dog for where she's going to go live. Okay? But now, on the other hand, if her owner was the type of person that expected, come on nerd, you can do it, that expected a dog that was going to be a hard charger and a great retriever, you know, a hard running hunting dog in the cold winter months in the cold water, I can't imagine Maggie being that dog, you know. So I'm sure somewhere in her ancestry there were dogs that were better retrievers. There were dogs that were better hunting dogs. There were dogs that had overall maybe better endurance level and energy output levels over the course of the day. Come on, nerd. But we don't live in those times, you know. We live in times where people buy retrievers, you know, for the most part, because the retrievers have awesome, gregarious, and outgoing personalities, and they're very biddable and easy to manage, okay? So, I guess my basic thoughts about the dog is, if when you think retriever, you think about getting up at 3:30 in the morning and carrying a, you know, sack of decoys out to go hunting in some cold and icy water, this ain't the dog for you. If, however, when you think about retrievers as having a dog that's fun to go outside and play with kids and play a little fetch and take to the nursing home and take out to get a piece of pizza and maybe do a little therapy work, okay, if that's what you're thinking about when you think about retrievers, I don't think you could get a better dog than this, you know. Now, there's not very many of them bred, so you have to be super selective when it comes to choosing a bloodline, because you don't have very many options, okay? But from my perspective, if you want a dog that looks awesome, it's got a great personality, and is really good to take around really old people, really young people, or people that have some type of physical impairment, it's going to be hard to beat a curly-coated retriever. Now we'll take a walk, and you guys can just kind of watch her hang out and do normal fun dog stuff. All right, now we're going to take a little hike in the rain out in my pre-adventure area, and you guys can just kind of compare and contrast how Maggie does in this environment versus these labs. Okay guys, come on. Now what I like to see when I'm out walking dogs is I like to see the dogs having a good time, okay? So you'll notice that I don't try to micromanage. I let the dogs go off and do their own things for the most part. I just make sure they stay within a safe and comfortable distance for me personally, okay? And then I practice calling them back. I kind of create, you know, a pattern of go out a little ways, come back and check in to buy some freedom, and it works really good with almost every retriever breed. So see, we don't have any dogs here with us now. Here, dogs! I holler at them, and here they come, right? Okay, so Maggie was off investigating, off playing, having a good time for herself. I want her to enjoy the environment, and the other dogs were off enjoying the environment, and when I whistled, they all came back and checked in. Okay. Very nice. I think it's very important, if you like outdoor activities, to buy the type of dog that you don't need to micromanage. Here at my kennel, we really firmly believe that the best kind of learning is simply learning by doing. Establish some good solid basic obedience and socialization, and then get out and start adventuring in the widest range of conditions possible. Now see how those dogs have went down that part of the trail? I'm going to take a right so that when I call the dogs, they'll look up and they'll be like, hey, where's Stonnie? And they'll have to work hard to come find me. Well, there's one. All right, let's wait here and see. Look at what we got. Oh my gosh, Maggie's a very smart dog. We're going to do the same thing here. They shoot off down this trail. I'm going to take a left. And when I get up here a little ways, I'm going to call them, and that way they have to work hard to find me. They didn't give me a chance to call them. Again, that's the great thing about picking the right kind of dog. Listen, dog training is way easier when you pick a dog who genetically, naturally manifests the type of patterns that you would like to see in your real life. All right, so Maggie's off there in the woods. Let's see if I can call her out of the woods. Here, dogs! So we have a lab. Oh my gosh, and there comes Maggie. I'll give Maggie a little treat, and then we'll go back to adventuring. Oh my gosh, a very good dog. You're a very good dog. Very good dog. Very good. Now, another super important thing for you to consider when you're looking at these different types of dogs is the energy profile. We try to break energy profiles down into three basic categories. We got energy output, we have endurance, and we have recharge rate. Okay, so if you're going to do a lot of hard stuff all day long with your dog, you need high energy output, you need high endurance, and you need a quick recharge rate. You can go back on my channel and watch a lot of short hairs. You know, I'll take them out on big 4 and 5 hour runs, and then they recharge their batteries in the 20-minute trip back to the kennel, you know, okay? With the English labs, what we like about them is that they can come out and they can have a big adventure for 20 or 30 minutes, but then they kind of have a slow recharge rate. So it takes them a long time to build that energy back up again. And with our field dogs, the one we use for mentors, the most, we need them to be able to go all day. So we have, you know, high energy output, high endurance, and quick recharge rates. Okay, but remember this, dogs that are good at doing stuff usually aren't really good at being still, and dogs that are being still usually aren't really good at doing stuff, okay? So if you're gonna be happy, you gotta start off with the proper expectations. Now, as Maggie starts to get out and venture into the brush with the other dogs, okay, her coat, that curly coat, it's gonna pick up a lot more debris than the Labrador's coats, okay? Now, people with curly coats will tell you that, you know, they'll kind of self-groom and they'll get that stuff out of their coats. Well, listen, you gotta take that with a grain of salt, you know. I walk a lot of dogs, and I can tell you the net total time expenditure for cleaning my labs up when I get home is close to zero. When we get back to the kennel, I'm gonna probably have to spend 15 or 20 minutes picking out cuckleburrs and little pieces of plant material out of her coat, okay? Now, the good thing about her is, though, at least she does have that nice smooth hair on her face, so unlike a lot of curly-coated breeds, she doesn't have a tendency to get foreign matter into her eyes. That's very important. Whoa! Uncle Stonnie is not as sure-footed as he once was. Oh my gosh, Maggie, did you see Uncle Stonnie fall down? Very good dog. See that? You see how when she runs back, She's so full of life and so full of energy. And back when we were at the kennel, I told you one of the things I really like about the dog is that she naturally modulates her energy level in relation to the activity, okay? So when she's around little kids and old people, hey, she's really good at calming down and being nice and friendly, but still, you know, not getting under their feet. Hey, but when we come out on a walk, she's big time, you know, big time happy, throwing her legs around, running, exploring, coming back with a good attitude. Oh, there you are. Very good. Okay. All right, we'll walk up this hill. And the last thing I'll show you is kind of, you know, how she does with the brush pile challenge. It's the brush pile challenge is something that we do on my channel a lot. Kind of gives you a good idea about how you can take just anything in your natural environment and make it a fun adventure for you and your dog. But it also kind of gives you a good idea of how cautious your dog is. You know, we come out here and some dogs, they jumped up there and they don't think about where they put their feet and they just go crazy. Some of them, it takes a little while, a little extra effort to get them to go up on the brush pile because it's kind of dangerous from their perspective. Can you see her over there, cameraman, by any chance? She's a nice, inquisitive dog, but she doesn't get so enthralled with what she's doing. You know, look at her. She's over there having a good time, rolling and carrying on, but she doesn't get so enthralled with what she's doing. See if you can get over there and see her what she's doing, cameraman. Well, of course, this is how dog training videos go. Like what I wanted to do was I wanted to show her over there rolling in something, probably some deer poop or something, and then I was going to call her out of it. And you know, I wanted to make the point that like even when she gets really excited doing her own thing, right? She's never disrespectful. And that's a very good quality, especially if you don't have a lot of dog training experience or you're not like a pretty commanding person, you know. A lot of dog training advice, so, you know, boils down to something along the lines of, you know, like if your dog's over there in the woods, like be commanding and make the dog come out. Be the leader. Well, I mean, leadership is not in everybody's wheelhouse, you know. So sometimes it's just better to get a dog that's easy to lead rather than try to change yourself into a leader that you were never meant to be. All right, so I'm gonna walk up on the brush pile. We'll see if she gets up here, but most likely I'll have to put a leash on and kind of help her. We'll see. Come on, Maggie. Oh, she did it. She did it. She's an overachiever, guys. All right, so what I like about what just happened is you'll notice I had my leash with me because I was fully prepared to have to get her up here on the brush pile because I've had to do that the last few times that we've come out. But look what happened, you know. And earlier in the video, I told you about how, you know, she's very pattern cognizant. So after a few attempts and a few times where I put her on the leash and I showed her what I wanted, this time, for whatever reason, it clicked and she hopped right up here, and I'm very proud of her. All right, so I hope that gives you a little insight as to what I think about curly-coated retrievers. I realize it's not a comprehensive video, and I realize that I'm not qualified to make sweeping judgments on the breed, but from my perspective, I really like them, and I think they fit in really well in situations where you need a sensitive yet athletic dog that's friendly and outgoing, okay, and has some propensity towards maturing into a retriever that you can have fun with. Maybe not one that you want to make a living with, but one that you can have fun with. All right, guys, I'll see you next week. Very good dog.